So the trending story of Busola Dakolo, Timi Dakolo's wife, has been on the mouth of every Nigerian all over, everywhere, in fact. If we dare say that the allegations, I mean, everybody is talking about the allegations against this pastor. And we've heard various views across board concerning this man of God. Where the conversation is right now is two things. What's next? Because all the various major social media pages have been awash with various comments, those for, those against. We understand that very clearly. But I think what's important is, again, removing the message from the messenger. Being able to separate the issues, understand what are the options available on the table, because whether we like it or not, facts are there are girls out there that are being raped by people in authority, either by pastors, their bosses, politicians, their teachers. There are lots of them. So many people are saying this is an opportunity for us to address this issue, because people are punching holes in Busola's arguments. Oh, this happened. How can this happen? You can punch all the holes you want, but the fact remains there are girls being taken advantage of. So how do we use this scenario to bring some kind of resolution to this matter? And in your own view, what has this entire episode communicated to you as our approach to these kind of issues?
So I'm extremely happy that this is being brought to the front burner. No Christian would claim to be unaware of the fact that there have been crises within the church concerning sexual abuse and all of that. But I want to use this opportunity to state clearly that the allegations against Biodun Fatoyinbo is not an allegation against Christendom. It's not allegation against the church. It is not saying the church is bad or that even the particular church is even bad. It is an allegation against one person. And if for any reason he is found guilty, he should be dealt with. And there are processes. This has been done before in other crimes, that they would process, stepping out, investigate properly and all of that. But people are taking it personal, like you are attacking the church. We've had this, things like this will come up. We had the case of Daddy Freeze coming up with the tithes issue. Many pastors didn't like it. They attacked his person, diversionary. They attacked what he was saying and all his baggages. But the issue is, what was raised is tithing right. And we found out later, some pastors were able not to say it isn't.
Thank you for taking us to the point. See,
this is a revolution about to happen.
I'm happy that Nima is on the show today. And as I said earlier, we're going to sustain this conversation because we don't want it to die down. We'll bring in lawyers, other lawyers also to enlighten us on what the options are. Now, Nima, let me come to you as a learned colleague. A lady has made an allegation. Now, from all obvious findings, it might be difficult to prove that in the court of law, according to what people are saying out there. Not necessarily, but the general assumption out there is difficult to prove, right? Now, if we can get multiple people to come and make a class action suit, even if is a class action suit even possible? Because I was told that they all have to have similar or exact stories for us to have a class action suit.
So there was
a
tag at one of the comments I made on the show that if she could find witnesses, and someone said it was impossible. That is not impossible. Number one is that in her story, there was a confession and an admittance in front of her family members when he confronted her and other pastors. Now, those people might not be willing to stand on her side of the case, but then he, as the accused, has to prove his innocence now when these accusations continue, in the sense that if the police are willing to do their findings and there are various other reports that might have been filed, or women are now willing to come out to file their cases, he will not have to be the one to establish, as at the time, the circumstances around when she is claiming where he was, who were his witnesses, and if it, like I said, an habitual, someone who people are saying he's done this over and over. Now she's not the only one claiming that he's done it, and I'm sure she can find people who have been coming to her, who made her come out on her own side of the story to say this is. So those women, when they are willing to come out, it compels the police to do their findings, to investigations, and he now has to establish.
I'll come to you, Benjamin. But I want to ask
lack of motive.
I want to ask a question quickly. Is it Busola that must file this must file this case, or the state?
Unfortunately, Busola has to now report. Because of this noise making, she has to going to the police and say, now I'm willing to report a rape
This
that
case.
happened 20 years ago.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that there's no statute limitation to any crime.
Let's come to
As soon as
your
she's
thoughts
willing
on
to
this.
report.
Yeah, a lot of people came out to say that why did she have to take 20 years? Why, if it actually happened, why did she take a long time? And I want to tell them that any victim of this kind of thing can take as long, any survivor can take as long as they want till they are healed for them to come out. So there's no peg on the time frame you should use. Legally, there's no peg on that. Then secondly, I think we've made a lot of noise already on social media. Social media will not do anything. It's just the hype and everybody's just sensational about the whole thing. I watched the video when you saw them in churches, they were carrying placards and all of that. We've done enough. I think we should now channel it to the right authorities, which is first, I expect her by now to have laid a formal complaint. You have to lay a formal complaint on this issue. Then those people, we've had people coming up with evidence that, okay,
this also happened with me.
Yes, Stella Damasus talked about a friend, talked about a friend that it happened to. This other person talked about. I believe they should start gathering the evidence if they have one, so that when the case gets to court, they can come and support.
I get that point.
Social media will not help.
I get that point, but the problem is, are our laws enough to protect a Busola and other victims? Because the laws we have in the today.
You see, for me, Busola is going to continue to remain the
girl.
The innocent one here, because if Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo doesn't file a defamation suit by this morning, personally, this is not using the church, personally against his person, that this is false allegation, this is a slander on my person, this is a libel on my person, and he doesn't file that defamation suit this morning, he's admitting to having done what Busola said.
Now, wow. Let me take Naomi. Okay, go on. Naomi, I'll take your comments, but please do not insult anybody. And we're not talking about the church. There's just one man involved in this. So in your comments, kindly consider those. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm the first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
And I give credit and kudos to God and thank all of you for this amendment. I followed you for a very long time. Now, the subject matter on ground. Just like Obi has said, I mean, truthfully, we've said everything on social media. But the fact still remains that his person is unwilling to come out. He's unwilling to address the issue. That's the issue here. It's a personal thing, yes, but it affects his first board. And then for her, people saying Busola should have come out on time and all that stuff, it takes time to heal. It takes in fact, it took her guts because somebody called her attention. I'm sure she wanted everything to die down personally, but that isn't the case. For many rape victims, they actually don't want to think about the issue. They want to just jump over that thing. But right now, that they are hurting. And if every one of them could come out and say, it's not about him as a pastor or a person. The other people who have been affected of it one way or the other, but how people they hold in prestige, people they hold in honor. These people have to be brought to book, but they have to step up in that same boldness to speak in one voice.
All right, thank you very much, Naomi. Yes,
so we can't wait. I wanted to finish what I was trying to say, because in criminal cases, it has to be beyond reasonable doubt. It might become a bit difficult for us to get there. But if he files a defamation suit this morning, it's based on balance of probabilities. Busola can then call other witnesses who would tend to help us push towards his sexual preferences for underage or his sexual preferences for forceful sex. If she can establish that probability in a civil suit, it can then help the police to continue on a criminal charge against him. So, and I know he will be weighing both. If he doesn't do anything this morning, he's just simply admitting to have done what she said.
For me, I feel that what I hope to achieve, what I hope we achieve overall from this, is where we have oversight, a stronger oversight presence of CAN. Because the first response from CAN was that they had no business in it. So it was supposed to be strictly internal. And in every case we've had rape allegation, no man will come out and say, yes, I raped him, I raped her. No man ever has admitted to rape. It is investigations that make it come out. Even the case of Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton said, I didn't do it. Even Bill Hybel, who also was found guilty of this, a man of God, a big man of God, he said, no, I didn't. So everybody will say they didn't do it. It is now the job of the government and investigation to prove that they did it. That's number one. Number two, CAN should come up with a policy that would ensure that by the time the internal disciplinary structure of the church does not kick in time, they have a right to oversee the
not all churches are members of CAN.
You are either a member of CAN
or PFN.
Yeah.
But
so those two, the government needs to have, everybody must organize. If you're in a team, you must have an organization that is representing you. And if you're not in that team, then the country has a problem to look into it.
So people have screamed that he should step down from his church. But you cannot step down from yourself. He is the owner of the church. It's a personal business.
It's God's church.
He's the owner.
He's not the owner.
Okay. It's God that is
anybody can run that church. It's God's church.
He started the church. So it's very difficult with what we have on ground for him to step down from his church. Okay, so I don't think CAN really has a power over this. I think if they have their committees in the church, disciplinary committees in the church, they should look into the matter. But although we heard that with the committees, they also cover up and do all that. Yeah. But all those things are still allegations. Yes. If this girl does not give a formal complaint, there's nothing we can do.
Let me take this call from Auchi. Morning, are you there? People. Go ahead, please. Remember, do not insult. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
I really appreciate you guys for the work you're doing, and I'm so proud of you guys for bringing this issue that is so controversial. I really appreciate you guys. Kudos to you guys. You know, when we talk about rape is so sensitive. And when I see people just commenting anyhow, it hurts my feelings. You know why? Because I experienced such things. And I was like, people don't really understand what people really go through. See, you've passed that path. See, you've experienced such things. Then you can comment, say something about it. I had an experience with somebody that is a local celebrity. And I went to his house and he tried to rape me. I thank God I was in my period that day. But after showing me up and down in a room, he found out I was in my period and he left. And I was so ashamed of myself. When I left his house, I was not able to say anybody. It took me 20-something years to be able to open my mouth and tell me what
Thank you for sharing your story. So really, our conversation is really focused on what's next. Yes, there was a protest over the weekend. How sustainable is this? We saw this with the...
Should there have been a protest?
Well, I think you made a point. The protest probably made a point. But how sustainable is it? Number one. Number two, the fact that we're looking for other women to come up. Will they come up? Giving our society, giving people that are married.
Because this trial on sexual assault of the that he just got convicted upon took years. And along the line, more women were just coming up with different cases or circumstances where they were left alone in his care and they felt abused. These women were actually drugged though. So, you know, this one took care of evidence around, you know, physical evidence. But these women were able to come out with circumstantial evidence and the court was able to convict because beyond that. I don't know how possible it is or how much longer it will take in Nigeria, but it is possible.
But let me ask you ladies.
I wanted to hit the point of
the protest.
The counter-protest that happened. So we saw videos of young men who were saying, they promised us 10,000 naira, and people were not even members of the church protesting his innocence. That is why I say that a man of his caliber, of his status, cannot have this kind of allegation against his person without filing a defamation suit immediately. So the damage is obvious.
But I'll come to you. Let's take this call from Benin. Morning, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Morning. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yes, my opinion, from my understanding, I feel the pastor and the lady in question, I feel they were having something proud to they had a relationship ongoing between them. You know, maybe at the time, both of them said, one of them said, no, it's okay, it's enough.
17-year-old.
Because to me, the woman in question got married in that church. The woman met her husband in that church.
Yes, so they
said. I do attend that church anytime in Abuja. So that girl and that guy was suspended in that church at the time when I was in that service that day. He was suspended when the woman both of them got pregnant, as in they impregnated each other, or the man impregnated her, proud they are getting married.
Etinosa, a man of over 20 years old has sexual intercourse with a person underaged. Under the Child Rights Act, it's a statute. We don't need an evidence of consent.
No.
Well, as long as she's underage, there's a word for it, I'm forgetting. As long as she's underage, she cannot have a relationship with him.
I don't want us to go back and forth.
There's no relationship with him. There's no defense for him.
I don't want to go back and forth because he's just explaining his own views.
I just got it now.
Let me come to
It's a strict liability offense. We don't need to establish.
Underage in Nigeria, I believe,
Right.
is from 15
Point
years.
taken,
but I wanted to say that I expected the brother and sister should have said something by now. So I don't know, maybe there's a strategy that they want
to media.
No, here maybe there's a strategy. But now the protest that they had on Sunday, we were told that they had DSS surrounding to protect the pastor, which some people said they normally have DSS every Sunday. So they just beefed up the security because of the outsiders that were coming in. Then we had people who claimed that they were paid to counter protest. Some of them could not even speak English, and they were holding the cardboards upside down. And people were saying that, if he's not guilty, why would he have to do that? And other people were saying at the same time that it's possible that there's even people, he's not even aware that this is happening. It's even his supporters who are trying to protect him.
So do in the name of God. May God forgive us. Because a lot of times people use the name, this Christendom name of God, to defend, exploit people. People use their power as Christians or as leaders of church to exploit and damage people, because that's why she's speaking up. So she's speaking up because she felt that it happened to me. I've moved on. I forgave him, but I found out that it's still happening.
Okay.
Consistently.
Now,
but
let's not pass judgment. We don't know.
So this man came to the church and he said that the Holy Spirit told him that he should fast for 7 days, and Holy Spirit told him they should suspend a project. And Holy Spirit, I'm like, Holy Spirit, I hear Holy Spirit too. When will we stop as a nation protecting VIPs and ignoring every other citizen?
Okay, point taken. But I would like us to go to what exactly is our response or expectation of the members of that church. Because people were booing them as they're coming. Shame on you, shame on you. What exactly did the protesters expect? That they shouldn't come to church, or they should also join the protest? What exactly are we expecting people now? Because in the court of public opinion, we've already convicted this person.
Yes, we have.
So what exactly? Because there are two things. And when during Timi Dakolo's thanks, I saw that they've been planning this for months. So we are doing our own.
Their time.
So they've planned it. They have their own strategy. But in this court of public opinion, what exactly are our expectation of the members of that church?
So what I want
It's
from
very
them,
let me go. The way I do things, when this seriousness of this magnitude of this kind of allegations are made, distance yourself from the parties, from the circumstances and the place of worship. Worship can take place anywhere. The members of that church hear how serious these allegations are, but then they are moved by the sentiments, or because all the testimony I followed on social media were based on financial gratification as being members of the church. This church is why I'm here, where I am. Nobody is saying that this person has damaged younger people. And now there's also this question of members of people defending the pastor, saying it is not possible that he raped her twice in 1 week. So that it is not possible. Hold on a minute. That it is not possible for you to conceive a crime in a particular way does not make it impossible for somebody who is strategic, who knows how well to do a crime, who is an habitual person to carry on.
It's very, very difficult to somebody you have known all your life as a man of God to now hear something and you run away. I don't expect the church, I don't expect the church members to just up and leave like that, because some of them have worked with this man over the years. And the truth is, even if he's guilty, he didn't do it to everybody. So if you don't have that experience with him, why would you now hear something and just, it's like hearing something about Tokwe now, and all of us decide to throw her under the bus and run away. So we'll have to stand with her.
For me.
Exactly.
So I don't expect any church member to just run. I believe that the church, if he's someone you revere and you respect and you know this man is called by God, your duty is to chastise him inside, protect him outside.
Yes.
Now, everybody should speak against rape, which is why I'm happy that a lot of men of God, respected men of God and leaders in our society have been speaking up against rape, not against this person. So let's come in and deal with the issue. This is anti-cabinet. Deal with the issue. But don't run away and throw him under the...
I wrote an article yesterday. I wrote an article about 2 days ago concerning the hypocrisy of scapegoatism. Scapegoatism, because we are making this one a scapegoat, but we're not dealing with the real issue. But let me take this call. Morning, are you there?
We are doing both, actually.
Morning, are you there? I'll tell you why I think you're not.
Hello?
Morning, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Very clearly, go ahead.
Yes, good morning, my sister.
You're live. You're live. Go ahead, please. Yes,
Okay,
morning.
okay. My view on this is that The pastor, from all I can see here, the pastor actually had something to do with the woman there. You know, so I believe that this rape thing shouldn't have come up at this time, because she said in her interview that the sister was upstairs. She's above 17, or she was 17, thereabout. She had finished secondary school. The man just came in, pushed you on the chair and raped you. You didn't scream. You still went back to his house the next Sunday. You didn't say anything. My take here is that they had something. There was a relationship going on. There was no rape. Because if it was rape, they raped you and you did not say anything about it. And you are still going.
Thank you very much for your view, sir. Yes.
So you were saying that we're dealing with scapegoating, but we, in every society, what would deter people from committing crimes like this consistently is when they see
make an example. Yeah.
You make an example. You create punitive measures that will make other people desist from carrying out their animalistic nature, because it is normal for a man to feel like doing something like this. Many people might go through it, but when there's a scapegoat as popular as this,
right? So now let's come to the issue of scapegoats. Now, my issue is, if we are able to prove this in court, hallelujah.
Yes, so.
But there is a strong possibility that maybe this case might not be able to be, we may not be able to prove this thing adequately beyond a reasonable doubt in court. And even if you have a class action, even have 100 women saying the same thing, it might be difficult. Because rape, aside because of the laws we have, might be difficult to prove. So my question is, making this man a scapegoat, would it deter? Indeed, would it truly deter?
Deterring.
Do you think so, Tokwe?
It's already deterring. Because a lot of men are now scared. Pastors are now scared of the reality.
So,
did you see the floodgates?
I would rather...
One man stood by Biodun Fatoyinbo and took a picture. And somebody now commented that you did the same thing to me. So, and my parents...
Tokwe, let me finish the conversation then. So, in the court of public opinion, can other people begin to come up now and say, listen, A did this to me, this politician did this, this teacher, we get that.
Did you follow the Me Too campaign?
I follow that. Okay, well,
so,
I did.
So people who have suffered this thing, I know will come out. And I know for sure that before Busola and Timi would take this risk, knowing their position in society, they would have calculated all the risk.
Yeah,
I have to go on a break. Let me come to you.
Yes, this lady, the former BBN person, Bam Bam, she also made a post that she was raped as well. When I read it, I was like, wow. A lot of people just came out to, narrate their own ordeal, but I really do not believe that social media will help us.